Good morning. First off, I want to thank Miriam Shames, is that correct? For this fabulous music this morning. Thank you very, very much. To be honest, I'm not a big cello fan, but you made it so stunning. Stunning music. Thank you. So does everybody have a seat that needs a seat? We still have a couple more up front. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Officially, I'm Elizabeth Copeland. Officially or not unofficially, I am Elizabeth Copeland. I am the board president for about another, hour, 2 hours for People's Memorial. It's been one heck of a wonderful ride for 2 years now. This is an amazing organization, and we got a lot to share with you today. I also want to let you know that over in the corner there's notebooks, photograph albums of the last 80 years. Really take a look at some of those. It's just amazing. So welcome. I'm going to first introduce our board members. I'm just going to ask you to stand, raise your hands, wave furiously, just so people know you're here. Ashley, Danny in the back, Cheryl's here, Erika's here, Elizabeth's here, the other Elizabeth. And you're going to see and hear from each one of them today. I'm very excited about that. Also, we have an incredible board. Well, we have an incredible board, but we have an incredible staff that I have had the pleasure to work with the last 2 years, and actually in the last 6 months that staff has grown, and we've added some incredible people to our roster that I'm honored to work with. So if the staff could stand and wave. Yeah, with Beverly, Amanda, Jeff. We have a number of great people, and you will be hearing from them as well for the most part later today as well. But if you don't, please introduce yourself afterwards. They would love to meet you in person, I know. So that's the board. Okay, and everybody is available afterwards for any questions you have or any. Oh, and there they all are. By the way, so the technology thing, which we all love technology, but for right now, I apologize that you not only get me, big me, you get mini me up there. so just bear with us on that. We are recording this. We have had some requests in the past for to be able to view it after it's over, people who weren't able to come today. So that's why we are recording it. I also want to recognize the organizations that are here today. I'm going to start with Honoring Choices. So folks from Honoring Choices, wave your hands. Great, she's back there. She's jumping up and down. Good. End of Life Washington. I know I saw some kids and I saw the people. They're back there. These are all organizations in the back. A Sacred Passing is also here. Wave hands in the back. Yay. And Recompose, Katrina Spade is here. I actually saved her for last because, as you may know, we have a bill now going through our state Congress for the legalization of alkaline hydrolysis and other options for the funeral industry that I personally think are amazing, to have these wonderful options that are environmentally sound and have a beautiful outcome. And Katrina, we're down to the wire, and it went through committee, correct? Went through all the appropriate committees. It is now on the House floor to be voted upon. Katrina has a letter back in the back to sign. So if you want to know more about it and then sign the letter, we will be sending this to Olympia, saying, look at all these people who think this is really an important option in Washington State. So please look for Katrina afterwards. So we have the co-op funeral home here today. Of course we do. Back there, and we have A Sacred Moment. Char and Sean back there. Great. There's some great things on their table too. Some great new books. And Resting Waters. the Seattle's pet funeral home, and I don't see Jocelyn offhand, but they just, Resting Waters just became our pet option for People's Memorial, which actually, if you've ever had a tour of Resting Waters over at Washington, West Seattle, you'll know what a wonderful opportunity it is when you've lost a pet to actually have them taken care of in such a gentle, wonderful way. So definitely have a chat with those folks back there. Okay, so we got thank yous. Sorry about that. We have thank yous for all kinds of wonderful things that you see here today, including food. Central Co-op Market is one of our sponsors who provided a lot of the beverages and foods you see here. Is anyone here from Central Market? No. Okay, well, the Co-op Market. We love you, Central Co-op Market. Resting Waters is one of our sponsors here today, as is Recompose. So thank you for sponsoring this event. I should actually back up. How many of you are just members, regardless of how many years? How many of you are members? Okay. How many of you have been members for 5 or more years? Oh, 10 or more years. 15 or more years. 20? Woo, 25. I feel like I should be auctioning. All right. 30. 40. Oh my gosh, love it. Okay, anybody longer than 40 years? Oh, we got one back there. We got one over here. Oh, and over here. That's fantastic. Thank you all very, very much. Wow. So you will appreciate the growth and the changes and options and all the hard work that the board and staff has put in to make this organization what it is today. And it's really growing every day, and we're looking for new options. And I think that's my cue to move on. Okay, so we will be asking a little later for you to share some of your own memory stories, folks. So kind of be thinking about that. If you want to share later on, we really want to hear those stories. So our theme is PMA, planting, nurturing, and growing, okay? And I have a little speech. I promise I'll keep it short. However, you will notice that I use the word plant, nurture, and grow a lot, okay? So that's a theme, the theme here too. People's Memorial Association was founded in 1939, hence 80 years. This was during the Depression era cooperative boom that was sweeping the country. We were actually the product of outrage over the high prices and the high pressure sales tactics of the funeral industry. Our new and unique organization was here to plant a vision. And that vision, empowering people by giving them information that would save them money, and even more importantly, create a meaningful and more personal end-of-life experience. So the seeds our founders planted began to take root. Assisted by the publication of The American Way of Death by Jessica Mitford, our PMA membership grew exponentially in the 1980s and 70s. Member Shelley Gilia was president of the PMA board back then, and she was also a columnist of the Seattle Times. She had a column called The Troubleshooter. How many of you remember that column? Good. And in it, she explored questions about how to deal with end-of-life arrangements. She was key, really, she was key to educating consumers about their options and about People's Memorial Association specifically. Shelby died in 2016, but her contribution and everything she did for PMA and for all of us lives on through her. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Blythe's Funeral Home, which had served PMA members since the beginning, was bought out in 2005. How many of you remember that? I know I heard some conversation, yes. And their contract, therefore, with PMA ended. So we had 80,000 members at the time, and we were kind of up the proverbial creek, which, looking for a solution, we really had to think outside the box at that time. So in 2007, our PMA members, many of you in this room, voted to open our own funeral home on Capitol Hill. And we named it the Co-op Funeral Home of People's Memorial, where we focused on quality of care, transparent pricing, and absolutely no pressure tactics at all. Today, People's Memorial, I don't you love this image? I really love this growth image, especially since the rain out there is making me feel like my plants are growing back home. Today, People's Memorial has a full-time staff, and they nurture that vision of our founders. And by helping members be prepared, we work to remove the guilt that often accompanies the loss of a loved one. Members receive tools for funeral planning and for having conversations with family members about this very difficult topic. We bring comfort to your families, and we assure that you are in good hands when the time comes. In short, people choose to become members because of our commitment to transparency and compassionate care. Board member Ashley Topacio, who you will hear from shortly, she wrote this. It sums it up beautifully. I believe that life passages such as birth, aging, and dying are important and even sacred. During these times, we tend to remember how we felt more than what happened or what was said. Trauma can occur during a life passage in which someone feels unsafe or unheard. It can impact an entire family or community system for generations. The work we do here at PMA offers people the knowledge and support to avert a traumatic experience from occurring when someone they care for dies. By working to provide a gentle, honest passage for the family or caregiver of a deceased person, we improve a person's support system. By holding space for death-positive conversations and planning, we help others cultivate a peace of mind for themselves and for their families. And there she is, and there she is. And now we are growing into the future. Through the expansion of our education and advocacy efforts, I apologize, and events, got lots of events, we will provide more opportunities to start conversations about death and dying. We are in the middle of a cultural shift to destigmatize death. We meet more people each day who want to take back the process of death and dying. These people want to make educated decisions about their final arrangements. And we see more requests for greener disposition options and more transparency among funeral homes. So today, we ask that you help plant the seed with your own family. Enroll your loved ones in PMA and have them become PMA members. You can nurture your own membership and theirs by utilizing our resources, which you'll hear more about shortly, and you'll be able to create your own end-of-life plan and share it with your family members. Attend the classes that we offer, follow us on social media, and read and share our monthly newsletter. So I'd like to take a moment. Sorry, I get all emotional too. I'd like to take a moment, and if I had a glass of bubbly, I would make a toast, but to a virtual glass, I would like to say, that's what I'd like to say, yes. Here's to the first 80 years of People's Memorial. Here's to the next 80, because the best is yet to come. Now I'd like to introduce Ashley Topacio in the flesh.
Hi, I am Ashley. I'm the secretary of the board. I am just up here to have you take a quick look at the annual meeting minutes from last year's meeting. We don't need to go over it, but we're just here all together to approve the minutes. So take a quick look, and then in a moment, I'll just ask for a motion to approve. And do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the membership? So, thank you. Anybody second that motion? Thank you. All in favor of approving the minutes from last year's meeting? Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, thank you all so much, and thank you for being here today.
Paul Hensel is the treasurer of our board, and unfortunately he can't be here today, but we recorded a statement from him that he wanted us to share this morning.
Good morning, my name is Paul Hensel, and I'm happy to serve as your PMA board treasurer. I'm sorry I'm unable to be with you this morning, but I'm happy to be able to give you this update on our financial position and activities for the past year. We made several significant changes to the organizational structure in 2018. Kathy Long, PMA's executive director, retired after 6 years of devoted service. Nora Menkin, managing director of the Co-op Funeral Home, was promoted to executive director of the PMA, and the organization was restructured so that both the PMA and the Co-op Funeral Home now report directly to Nora. In addition, the position of membership and development director was created and defined, and Amanda Stock serves in this new role. Amanda's new responsibilities include member relations and broadening our fundraising umbrella to allow the PMA to continue to advocate for funeral pricing transparency, for new green burial options, and for related future issues important to our members. 2018 was fiscally another strong year for the PMA. It finished in the black for the year, and our relatively new fundraising efforts generated contributions 20% higher than budget. PMA ended the year with sufficient cash reserves to more than cover 10 months of operation, which is rare for a nonprofit organization of our size. The Co-op Funeral Home maintained the same level of sales in 2018 as 2017, though we had budgeted for a 10% increase that didn't materialize. With the change in personnel, Nora and her team did an excellent job of managing expenses and finished the year within $48,000 of budget. The Co-op Funeral Home retains its 5-star rating on Yelp, and 99% of survey respondents rate their experience as excellent. Given the recent dynamics of the Seattle real estate market, we have been unable to find suitable and affordable space to expand our operations. The decision has therefore been made to remain at our current location on Capitol Hill and to revamp the existing PMA and funeral home space to optimize our office resources. I would like you all to know that the PMA and funeral home staff and board members are extremely devoted to our mission of providing compassionate service and affordable, no-pressure options to people at one of the most challenging times of their lives. Death and dying are universal experiences, and we are all proud to be part of a positive community that seeks to help one another through this most challenging of times. Thank you very much.
I guess I should have reread Paul's speech because I don't need this anymore. I'm Jeff Cohn. I'm the business manager for both People's Memorial Association, closer to the microphone, and the Co-op Funeral Home. So I work for two organizations, essentially doing the same job. For me, it's all one big happy family. Okay. I think it's really odd that for the financial success of a business, we rely on people dying. It sounds funny, but we can't encourage people to die. Well, we can, but then we just go out and get new members. But you think about, well, how do you manage a business like that? How do you plan for it? And we work blending historical data. We take anecdotal information, and we make really good educated guesses, and we cross our fingers and rely on a lot of luck. And we can't do that forever. So last year, we saw PMA's leadership contemplating its future and taking action to get us to and through the next 80 years. We found ourselves taking 2 courses of action, both unplanned at the end of 2017. The association and the funeral home have always excelled at running very lean, but being scrappy may keep your head above the water, but it doesn't always get you ahead. So with board approval, we took a step outside the budget and determined to invest in our future through new marketing strategy. There was a $9,000 price tag to a new marketing strategy that was split between the funeral home and the association. And the initial actions, you've already seen some of that today, through rebranding of our image with new logos, revamped websites, a promotional video, along with a completely rewritten membership brochure. Working with media and marketing consultants, we are expanding PMA's presence in the community. Our second unexpected detour was Kathy Long's decision to retire. She's really a tough act to follow. I know you all know her, and she's a very positive influence on the organization. However, Nora Menkin agreed to take on the role of both executive director for both organizations, and we're still here. The restructuring also led to the hiring of a full-time membership and development director, and that's taken burden off the shoulders of the executive director, and I think it will make a huge difference in the future. It was a pretty hectic year, but we're well positioned for 2019. You're probably wondering when I'm going to talk about numbers. If I can turn the page. In 2017, prior to our membership fee increase, the association had this huge surge of new memberships, 100, 150 a week. And we knew that that would not be repeated in 2018, particularly with the price increase. Still, we had a respectable gain of nearly 2,000 members and $91,000 in revenue, which is close to half of PMA's revenue stream and consistent with previous years. Also, now that many of our partner funeral homes can access member disposition authorizations online, we had a greater interest in storing electronic documents, and that brought in $6,700, which is 50% above our targeted amount. In the fundraising arena, PMA once again participated in Seattle Foundation's Give Big region-wide fundraiser. But due to the disastrous online donor management of 2017, many donors decided not to participate in the event last year, and we saw a 30% drop in donations. But we're not disheartened. We're going to be participating again this year. And what's the date for that, Amanda? May 8th. So plan for a month from now. It is being managed by 501 Commons this year, and we hope to have a great turnout. The biggest fundraising challenge for almost all small nonprofits, including ours, is being able to move beyond preaching to the choir. You are our core of long supporting members. And we've tried to do that over the past years. Kathy worked very hard trying a lot of different new tactics, and we continued that last year. We used some targeted mailings to new members, tried some email appeals to members, but it didn't produce much in the way of results. So last fall, we focused our efforts on our end-of-year appeal, reaching out to a large but select group of PMA members, and it worked. We pushed our annual giving 20% beyond our budgeted number and 15% over 2017's total giving. And we surpassed our income goal by a modest $2,000. Yay. We spent money too. In addition to the marketing expenses I mentioned earlier, With a change in staffing and some overlap, we had higher payroll and benefits expenses, but for most of line items, we were under budget. The one line item that I am particularly pleased about was the reactivation of our indigent cremation fund, which helps with cremation costs for member families in need. Due to heavy demand in 2017, we exhausted available funds, but through the sale of donated burial plots, we found ourselves in good shape by the beginning of 2018. Last year, we were able to assist 20 families with the cost of cremation. But really, for me, it was more than that. We helped families ensure that their loved ones received a dignified farewell. So although we had unplanned expenses, the association managed to come out on top and in the black by about $1,000, making it pretty much a break-even year. Hey, if it's in the black, I am happy. From my perspective, the co-op funeral home also had a successful year, though it's not readily apparent on paper. January is generally a strong month for the funeral home, in part due to some spillover from December. But business was down early in the year, and although there were occasional spikes, we remained in a slump for most of the year. By mid-year, we felt that there was a strong likelihood that the funeral home would end the year in the red. We never know how many people are going to die, and we just have to roll with it. In the funeral industry, there are no Valpak coupons or Black Friday doorbusters that are going to offset a lack of death. The co-op funeral home did serve 869 families in 2018 and realized $823,000 in sales, about 10% below projections. Additional revenue of $62,000 came from records fees, insurance sales, and investments. Budgeted expenses came in about $41,000 under budget, which means that the co-op funeral home ended the year with about a $40,000 net loss. Not a great way to end the year, but pretty impressive considering the shortfall in projected income. It was a rough year, but we weathered it through. This month, I am proud to say I celebrate my 5th anniversary with People's Memorial. It is no longer the 3 shaky organizations that Kathy and Nora brought me into. It's now more stable and positioned to take us ahead. Your People's Memorial is in the hands of the most committed staff, board, and volunteers I have ever encountered, and I wouldn't want to be working anywhere else. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming out today. It's really great to have such a great turnout on a rainy day. My name is Cheryl Jennings. I'm serving on the board. Last year here, you guys voted me onto the board. It's been a wonderful experience. I second everything that has been said about the collegiality, and actually it's really fun of working on the board. My role here today is as a member of the governance committee, headed by Margaret Kitchell, who we'll see in a video. My purpose of standing here right now is just to introduce you to prospective board members. And along that line, what I need to do is just kind of, to be official, read the bios of just the people that you see here on the front page who are brand new to, prospective brand new members to the board. So let me go over them real quickly. Let's have stand up first, Anthony. I'm going to start with Anthony Estrella, who's here today. He's in the back waving his hand. He's with his wife, Nicole. Anthony is currently enrolled in a mortuary sciences program. He's chosen to pursue a career in funeral service because he's always had a passion for hospitality. He joined PMA because he saw how much we do for the community through advocacy and education. From the moment he reached out, everyone has been so kind and compassionate. You're welcome. And he's excited to do his part in helping others navigate through end-of-life choices. He enjoys hiking through Washington's many beautiful parks and plans to apply his love of the outdoors through green and sustainable funeral practices. Well, he's not getting lost in the wilderness. He's standing in the back of the room, and he enjoys reading and lounging on the porch with his cat. Second, we have in the back here in the corner, if you can stand up, Menkin. Megan just came to us the other day and said, she would really like to be on the board. And we said, yes, we would love to have her, I think, as a member of the board. Here's what she has to say. Megan grew up in the Pacific Northwest and earned a degree in communication studies from Seattle University. She's worked for 15 years for engineering firms as a project coordinator that supports structural, geotechnical, environmental, and aviation teams. As part of her grief journey after the death of her parents, Megan started to delve into learning about green funeral practices and death positively. She connected with the work being done to provide families with more personal and more sustainable funeral choices. I look forward to working with PMA to promote its educational and advocacy goals. And lastly, and not able to be present today, is Mary Kay Lutia, who would like to serve on the board as an alternate member. She says in her written statement, I was born and raised in Southwest Pennsylvania, where I earned a bachelor's degree in environmental studies. A desire for travel and adventure led me to the West Coast and to the University of Washington to pursue a master's degree in public administration. I retired in 2015 from a 28-year career with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. I enjoy travel, active outdoor pursuits, cooking, gardening, reading, planning trips, and activities for friends and family. I'm involved in numerous volunteer efforts. Soon I hope to bring my organizational and coordination skills to the People's Memorial Association as an alternate board member. So having made these introductions to our prospective new members, like to show a video by Margaret Kitchell, who is the head of our governance committee and soon to become our board president. With your vote.
My name is Margaret, and I've been a member of People's Memorial Association since 2006, when I joined with my husband, Jack. When he passed away in 2012, we called the co-op funeral home, and the process was simple and straightforward. Since then, I have joined the board and served for one term, and I hope to serve for another term. I've been part of the reorganization of People's Memorial, and I'm very excited about our new executive director, Nora Menkin, and also our new membership and development director, Amanda Stock. I care about end-of-life issues and about the legacy and memories that we leave behind from our passing. It's not easy in our culture to talk about these issues, and so I'm happy to be part of People's Memorial, which fosters planning, education, and advocacy about these important issues. My daughter is also a member, and we're carrying on our family tradition into the future. This has enabled us to have difficult conversations about what's important to us at the end of life and to plan our legacies. I am honored to be a member and to serve on the board of this wonderful organization.
Thank you, Margaret. Given that we have the same number of vacancies on the board as we have prospective and volunteer people for the board, I'd like to ask if we could vote for them all three together, the three people whose bios I just read, as opposed to going one by one for the sake of efficiency. Do I have a movement?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right. So I've never done this before. So again, we have, if you want to vote these people again, can you say aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Excellent. Okay, secondly, there are people who have been serving on the board who have proposing to move from a volunteer, an alternate status to regular membership, as well as Margaret moving from vice president to president. Can we have somebody move that would be fine with the membership?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second? Great. So all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Business is concluded for the Governance Committee. Thank you very much. And let's see. I'm going to introduce Nora, who almost needs no introduction at this point.
I'm tall, so I'll hold the microphone so it gets close enough. I had met Cheryl through my interest in home funerals and was looking for a different and more meaningful way to handle after-death arrangements. I was thrilled when Cheryl and John Eric Ralston, who was the executive director at the time, asked me to join the Co-op Funeral Home as a funeral director intern. The first year had the typical bumps and new business experiences, especially one with a business model that had never been attempted before. A funeral home owned by its members, providing services requested by and at a cost chosen by those members. But amazingly, it worked. We quickly grew into one of the largest volume funeral homes in the state of Washington. The first year, it's about half as much as we were only open for 6 months. I got my funeral director license in 2009, the same year my son was. And now I have the honor of serving as your executive director of People's Memorial Association and the Co-op Funeral Home, and I am excited to continue on this journey that started 12 years ago. Our board of directors has taken on the task of steering PMA into the next 8 years. I'm thrilled to join them in this endeavor. The world is a very different place than what our founding members experienced in 1939. But unfortunately, some of the issues that led to PMA's inception are very much still in need of our attention. In 2018, we conducted our funeral home price survey, and it revealed a 750% variance in cremation prices in Washington State, from $490 to $4,165 for the same cremation service. This shows the wide range of cremation prices in our state. You can see that the current PMA price of $755 remains at the very low end of the scale. But fortunately, funeral consumers have far more access to information on funeral prices than they ever have. Even so, 31% of funeral homes did not respond to our requests for their general prices for our survey when asked via phone or email. So that top line, we don't know what the costs actually are. The Federal Trade Commission's funeral rule, which was written in 1984, only requires the funeral home to provide a price list if you visit their location. For some of the more remote funeral homes, it just wasn't possible for us to physically visit every single funeral home in the state, and we don't think this should be a requirement. No one shops like this in this day and age. We have the internet. We are working with the Funeral Consumers Alliance, FCA, and Consumer Federation of America, CFA, to update the Funeral Trade Commission's funeral rule. We hope to amend the rule to have funeral homes provide their general prices on their website. Currently, only 38% of funeral homes in Washington State provide their prices online. While this is up from 27% in 2016, there is still a very long way to go. Thanks to the work of our contracts committee and the board of directors, we have updated our costs and services with our contracted funeral homes for the 2019-2021 period. These costs go into effect June 1st. The negotiated cost of the direct cremation is rising slightly to $795. Plan 2 is changing to be a direct cremation with an ID view. An ID viewing is a private 1-hour viewing for family to spend time with their loved one. The member cost for this plan will be $995, and the cost of the burial plans will remain the same. We have 25 contracted funeral homes across the state of Washington to serve our members, and we have representatives here today from A Sacred Moment and, of course, the Co-op Funeral Home, who are a member of Funeral Home on Capitol Hill. I included the closest funeral homes to this area because I'm assuming most of you are local. How many of you have used the services of one of our contracted funeral homes? Yeah. Has anyone used the Co-op? I'm also happy to tell you about our new partnership with Resting Waters Seattle's Pet Funeral Home. This is the first time People's Memorial is contracting with a pet funeral home, and members members will receive a 15% discount off their prices. Please visit our table and get to know them. Just in the last couple of months, I've had the pleasure of representing you, our members, in Olympia as we've been advocating for new greener methods of disposition. With any luck, by the end of this month, alkaline hydrolysis or aquamation and recomposition will be approved forms of disposition in Washington State. This will make us the most progressive state in the nation in providing consumer choice for end-of-life arrangements by 2020. Just as a reminder, thank you. Yes, and thank you, Gina. And just a reminder, there is a letter that we're asking if you want to support this legislation sign that we'll be making copies to distribute at the House of Representatives to make sure they know that the members want this choice. The co-op funeral home has begun offering aquamation services by using the facility in Portland, where the process has already been legalized. We've already had a lot of interest in this new greener process, and 2 families have used the service so far. While we can't control and plan for every situation that may occur at the end of one's life, PMA is working to expand our educational opportunities and resources for everyone who will face this unfortunate reality of life. One of my favorite jobs when I became the co-op funeral homes managing field director was presenting at PMA steps and workshops about funeral planning. Has anyone attended the DUCS workshop? Oh, yes. With Kathy Long, we also developed our spin-off series, the Bucket List programs, on a monthly basis that we hold at Seattle Public Libraries. Has anyone been to one of those? They're on a monthly basis, and we always have it up on our website. Watching these programs reach such diverse members of our community really inspired me to look at how we can continue to expand our educational opportunities. With the help of the new programming committee, PMA will be creating and offering more workshops, tools, conversations, and general information to be disseminated in a variety of accessible ways. We will continue to host in-person workshops, but we will work on providing webinars and recorded videos for people who just can't attend in person. The more information people have, the better they can advocate for themselves, and the better equipped they are to make decisions about their and their loved ones' end-of-life options. Together with you, our members, our board of directors, our amazing staff, PMA is poised to fight for you for the next years. We are here to support you and your families through one of the most difficult times in life. And thank you so much for being a part of PMA. It is my great pleasure to introduce for the first time at the PMA Annual Meeting, Amanda Stock, our new Membership and Development Director.
Good morning, thank you. First, I'd like to ask you a question. How many of you are here because you received our postcard in the mail? Okay, and how many saw the invitation in our newsletter? Social media? Okay, thank you. Since October 2018, I've had the pleasure of speaking with many of you and hearing about the major impact PMA membership has on your lives. Before I worked here, I didn't think about the importance of planning for death. But in 6 short months, I feel like I've been exposed to a side of life many people don't have the opportunity to experience so intimately. Every day I answer the phone not knowing what I'm going to hear on the other end. Sometimes I listen as a person says for the first time out loud that their grandson, their mother, or their friend just died. They need to know what to do next, and we're there to help. Sometimes it's a member in the midst of creating their end-of-life plan, and they have a specific question. Hearing these stories and supporting people through this very important life cycle is a privilege. I am reminded daily of how important it is for PMA to exist and how important it is to create an end-of-life plan. So I'd like to ask another question and see a show of hands. How many of you have created your own end-of-life plan? And keep your hands raised if you've shared your plan with your loved ones. Right. Planning ahead is a huge gift for the ones you leave behind. There's a stark contrast between the experience people have if they know their loved ones' plan or not. If there is not a plan, there is often confusion,
shock at the cost of dying, and even guilt on top of all the grief. If there is a plan, they aren't left guessing and can focus on the grieving process. One last question. How many of you have signed someone else up with PMA or given membership as a gift? All right. I'd like to encourage you to give PMA membership as a gift to the ones you love, and most importantly, to share with them why you think it's so important to plan ahead. Ashley and Beverly are over at the PMA table, ready to help you register someone today. Ashley's got her computer, so we've made it super easy to do. One request we often get is to bring our DUCS classes to more locations around Washington State. And in response, we had a promotional video made by the company Message Glue. We're going to show it to you now. And we plan to use this video and others like it to spread awareness about PMA and to expand our reach worldwide.
In 1939, our first members planted the seed for what has grown into the People's Memorial Association and the Co-op Funeral Home. We, and I do mean we, because we are owned by our members, are officially called a Funeral Consumer Education and Advocacy Group. That simply means we make sure that everyone has access to information and affordable after-death options that meet their values and resources. Our members have a say in our costs and services, with options like green burial, cremation, home funerals, and aquamation. As a lifetime member, which you'll become for just $50, that's all, just $50, you'll receive part ownership in the Co-op Funeral Home of People's Memorial, discounted rates for cremation and burial plans at any of our partnering funeral homes, a 15% discount on caskets, urns, and services, an advocate at state and federal legislatures, free admission to Ducks in a Row, our popular education class on end-of-life planning, with forms and tools to help you start a conversation and share your wishes with your family and loved ones. Of course, there are some things you don't get. We'll never upsell. We'll never pressure you. We have no sales quotas. We just offer you a compassionate, trustworthy, friendly, sensitive, caring, and helpful resource for all your questions and concerns. Membership is the seed that has kept us going and growing. Now our roots reach out and nurture our communities all across the state, but our one-time membership fee doesn't cover our expenses. We count on your gifts and tax-deductible contributions to keep our education, workshops, and online materials free, to keep us here for you and your loved ones, even when you're no longer here. In our next 80 years, we'll grow even stronger. We'll find more ways to get you the information you need when you are ready to hear it, online, through video, and through social media, but always with a human on the phone to answer your questions. We'll keep finding and offering low-cost options. We'll continue to advocate for your rights and options in the state legislature, and to answer the questions you might even be afraid to ask, so you can have peace of mind about this unwanted but inevitable part of life. Washington State is on track to be the most progressive state in the nation for funeral options, thanks to our members. So, if you haven't joined us yet, PMA membership makes a great gift for family, friends, and loved ones. PMA, your partner in life and death. Owned by you.
Okay, you may have noticed this beautiful tree on the side of the wall and wonder what the heck it's all about. So we're calling this the giving tree. And as you've heard so far, 2018 was a busy year, and we've got plans for the future. We're supporting 72,000 living members in Washington State and are growing. If you believe death is a sacred life passage and should be treated as such, I encourage you to walk over and take one of those cards, not right now. They each have a different denomination on one, $10 all the way up to $200. If you believe people should not be taken advantage of financially while planning for death, Please take one of those envelopes down. If you believe we should have access to resources to make informed decisions about death and dying, I encourage you to take one of those envelopes, fill it, and drop it in the box. Okay, last thing before I go, I'd like you to take a look in the packets that we gave you. You will find a pledge of commitment form. We need you to be our partners in advancing this wonderful organization. So we came up with a few simple ways you can get involved. Please take the time to fill out the pledge. And if you want me to follow up with you personally, please return the form to us over here at the PMA table. I will make a photocopy and send it back to you, and together we will work towards your goals. Thank you for listening to me. Next, I'd like to welcome Board Member Erika Campbell.
Good morning, everybody, and some really friendly faces in here. Nice, no booing today. My name is Erika Campbell, and I'm no tomatoes, please. My name is Erika Campbell. I'm a board member with PMA and a proud member since 1992. Have used this service several times for family members, and I can't say enough about how much pleasure it gives me to not be taken by consumer, anti-consumer groups. And so I love the mission. I love being able to be mindful about choices, and I love people learning about that too. With that, I wanted to ask everybody in here, just a show of hands, how many of you have ever volunteered for the PMA before? In some capacity. Wonderful. So we have a smattering of volunteers, and we'd like to up that, and I want to give you some different opportunities to think about that might help enhance our offerings. As you know, we have volunteers who are in the room here today to help with practical setup, things like that, but we have a lot more pragmatic ways to help too. And that involves Nora had talked about the price surveys before, actually doing ground games. This can be a fun kind of Sunday drive challenge to go out to different communities, to funeral homes yourself, and ask for that information. And it's very eye-opening to see who gives you information and who does not. I've been there before, it's quite something. Other opportunities that we have are considering joining the board, being a board member yourself, giving of your time, your expertise, whether it's marketing, finance, any of those kinds of things. We're also really interested in expanding in new ways into the workforce. We think that this would be a very valuable service for HR directors to contemplate offering to their workforce. If this could be something that any of you are in business or know somebody in business, and you think that this would be a really nice perk for their workforce, this would be a really good entry point as part of your getting your ducks in a row. And finally, I'd really like to push too that the PMA, the Ducks in a Row series, they have them approximately 4+ times a year, which are 3-hour series, but they also will come out and do mini series for you in your own community. So if you are willing to be a community volunteer who actually sponsors a group coming out and doing a presentation within your own community, that's a huge help. It helps get the word out as well. So those are some great opportunities, and we really hope that you consider some form of volunteering, whether it's going online and doing price shopping, going out in the field, talking to your friends and family who are in human resources, and trying to get the word out as far and wide as we can. All right, so thank you so much, and volunteer.
Hello, I'm also tall. I'm in the screen there. Tuck down a little bit. And Kathy Long, many of you know who Kathy is. Kathy just recently retired. talk just a little bit about what Kathy did, because Kathy,
So when I first started in October, we've got this database. It's a software program called Little Green Light. There are over 200,000 people in our database. And as you can imagine, over the course of 80 years, it's a little messy. So we have been tirelessly trying to clean up this database. Many of you maybe have received emails from us saying, join, become a member, but hey, wait a minute, I'm already a member. So we've been cleaning up the database, and we've also been cleaning up our newsletter database so that we can avoid making some of these mistakes. We could not have done a lot of this IT work and cleanup work without the help of one very special volunteer. So we'd like to name the Volunteer of the Year as Dennis Barnes.